You did everything right. You show up early. You stay late. You answer messages when everyone else is asleep. You fix problems that aren't even yours. You carry teams. You save deadlines. You make things work when everything is falling apart. And yet, you're still in the same position, same salary, same title, same respect. So let me ask you something very direct. What if the problem is not your effort, but your strategy? What if being good at your job is exactly what is keeping you stuck? Because here's what nobody tells you in corporate life. The better you are at your job, the more dangerous you become to your own promotion. That's not motivation. That's not theory. That's how systems protect themselves. And today, you're going to understand exactly why. Because once you see this, you will never look at work the same way again. Most people think success works like this. Work hard, get noticed, get promoted. But in reality, it works more like this. Be visible, be replaceable, get rewarded strategically. And if you're invisible, you could be the most valuable person in the building and still be stuck for years. Now think about your current job. Be honest. Are you the person who speaks the most in meetings? Or the person who solves the most problems quietly? Are you the person leadership talks about? Or the person they rely on silently? Because there's a brutal difference between being useful and being promotable. And nobody explains this when you start working. They tell you, just work hard and you'll move up. That's the biggest lie in corporate culture. Because companies don't reward effort. They reward perception of impact. And perception is controlled by visibility. Let's go deeper. When you become the reliable employee, something very specific happens. You stop being seen as someone who needs growth, and you start being seen as someone who supports growth. You become the stabilizer, the emergency solution, the safety net, the person who makes everyone else look good. And companies love that because you are predictable. You don't complain. You don't negotiate aggressively. You don't create risk. You just deliver. But here is the truth nobody will say out loud. A company does not rush to promote its safety net because the safety net is too valuable exactly where it is. If they promote you, they create instability. They lose their backup system. So instead, they give you something cheaper. Praise, words, responsibility, and silence when it comes to money. You become essential without becoming elevated. And slowly, without noticing, you build a cage made of competence. The more problems you solve, the deeper the cage becomes. Now, let's talk about someone else. The person who gets promoted instead. They may not work as hard. They may not be as technically skilled. They may even make mistakes you would never make. But they do one thing differently. They are visible. They speak in meetings. They summarize results. They repeat ideas in a way leadership understands. They attach their name to outcomes. And most importantly, they don't assume good work speaks for itself. Because in reality, good work never speaks for itself. It needs a voice. And if you don't give it one, someone else will take credit for the silence. Now pause here, because this is where most people lose years of their life. They think, if I just keep working hard, eventually someone will notice. But organizations don't operate on eventually. They operate on memory cycles. What did you do this quarter? What did you contribute recently? What is visible right now? Not what you did last year. Not how hard you've been working in silence. Right now. And if your work is not visible now, it is considered not relevant now. That's the uncomfortable truth. And this is why many high performers stay stuck. not because they are weak, but because they're too focused on execution and not enough on positioning. Let's go deeper again. There's another layer most people never see: the silent promotion trap. This is where everything starts to go wrong for ambitious people. It starts like this: you're the best person for this task. Can you handle this extra responsibility? We trust you with this important project. Sounds like progress. Feels like growth. Looks like opportunity. But here is what is really happening. You are being upgraded in workload without being upgraded in status. More work, more pressure, more expectations. Same title, same pay, same recognition. And because you are responsible, you accept it. Because you're disciplined. Because you are reliable. Because you are ambitious. And that is exactly why it works. You don't reject it. You don't negotiate it. You don't question it. You just carry it. And over time, your workload becomes your identity. You become the person who handles everything. But nobody ever says, the person who handles everything should also be promoted. They just assume you will continue handling everything. Now let's break something even more uncomfortable. Hard work is not rare. Reliability is not rare. Competence is not rare. Visibility plus negotiation plus positioning. And those three things decide promotions more than effort ever will. You could be 10x more skilled than someone else and still lose the promotion to someone who simply communicated their impact better. That is not fair, but it is real. And once you understand that, you stop playing the wrong game. Now, let's talk about time. Because this system has a hidden cost. Every month you stay in the wrong position. You're not just losing money. You're losing leverage. You're losing negotiation power. You're losing compounding career growth. And most dangerously, you're losing awareness that you are stuck. Because the system is designed to make stagnation feel like stability. They don't say, you are not moving forward. They say, you are very important here. And that feels good enough to delay action. Until one day, you realize 5 years passed, and your life looks almost identical. Same job, same stress, same salary bracket, same exhaustion, just older. Now let's get brutally practical. If you want to escape this pattern, you don't work harder. You reposition. First, you stop being invisible. Document everything you do, every result, every improvement, every metric you influence. If it is not documented, it does not exist in career terms. Second, you speak before you are asked, not to show off, but to frame your impact, because silence creates invisibility. Third, you build external leverage, skills, network, options, because nothing changes your value internally, like having alternatives externally. And finally, you understand this. Loyalty without growth is just delay. Now listen carefully. Your job is not your enemy, but your misunderstanding of it might be. Because if you think effort alone is enough, you will overinvest in the wrong places. You will sacrifice time, energy, health, years, for a system that rewards visibility more than sacrifice. And here is the final truth most people avoid. Companies do not promote the hardest worker. They promote the most strategically valuable one. There's a difference, a huge difference. So the real question is not, am I working hard enough? The real question is my value visible enough to be rewarded? Because if the answer is no, then more effort will not save you. Only strategy will. And maybe this is the moment you needed. Not motivation, not comfort, but clarity. Because once you see the game, you can no longer unknow it. So I'll leave you with this. Are you building a career? Or are you just becoming indispensable in a place that has no intention of moving you forward? And if this hit you, then you already know what to do next.